Hey guys, good evening. And you can probably tell I've got a little bit different setup here in my office and still working on it, but have a little bit of lighting in the background. We'll see how that plays out. But I'm Brandon Denmon, founder of Peak Executive Solutions, and we help businesses thrive through culture building, leadership development, and strategic alignment. And one of the key areas we focus on is helping teams work better together to drive results for the bottom line and for their people. Today, I want to talk about a concept that I personally see having a huge impact on teams that I work with, and that is the lack of cohesiveness on a team. Patrick Lencioni talks about the five dysfunctions of a team in his book with that title, Five Dysfunctions of a Team, which can undermine even the most capable teams, preventing them from reaching their full potential. When teams fail to address these five dysfunctions, it leads to frustration, lack of engagement, and ultimately a crappy performance. But the good news is that these dysfunctions, they're not inevitable. And with the right tools, a bit of intentional effort, maybe some intervention, they can be overcome. The first one he talks about is the absence of trust. Trust is the foundation of any great team, and without it, they can't function effectively. And when the team members don't feel safe being vulnerable with one another, whether it's admitting mistakes, asking for a little help, or even acknowledging their weaknesses, the entire team suffers. How does that show up at work? What do you see? You'll see people kind of holding back in meetings, avoiding feedback, maybe keeping important information to themselves that needs to be said. There's a fear of judgment, maybe some retribution, which ultimately leads to lack of collaboration and transparency. The solution to this is to create an environment where people can be authentic and open without fear of judgment. And when this trust is established, communication definitely improves and the team becomes more cohesive. The second one is the fear of conflict. And no, I'm not talking about bad conflict, because some people think this can be a bad thing, and it actually can be, but it's also a healthy part of a cohesive team when people are able to have tough discussions. And like what you see when this shows up at work is that everybody's sort of nodding their head and agreeing on the surface. No discussion takes place. Important issues, you don't talk about them. They go unaddressed. And they're made without the full input of the team. The solution to this is to encourage open but respectful disagreement. It's not about being an asshole or confrontational. It's about challenging ideas in a constructive way so that the best solutions come to the forefront. The third one that Patrick talks about in his book is the lack of commitment. Commitment comes from having a voice in the decision-making process and knowing that your opinions have been heard. Without healthy conflict, though, people don't feel like they've been part of that process, and as a result, they sometimes don't commit to the overall A-team's objectives. And what you'll see if this is a problem at your work is you'll notice that there's a lack of enthusiasm for the team's goals. You might be missing deadlines, or there might be a general lack of engagement around the projects that are important to the team. When commitment is missing, things fall through the cracks and people won't go the extra mile for the team's success. So what do you do about that? What's the solution? You just need to make sure that everyone on the team has had an opportunity to contribute, and you do that by asking questions. Do we agree? What do you think? It's pretty simple, but you have to be intentional about doing this, or else the people that are more quiet or introverted might not speak up, or especially if there's a lack of trust. The fourth thing that Patrick talks about in his book is avoidance of accountability. Accountability is really, really critical to the team's success. And when team members fail to hold each other accountable, the performance of the whole group suffers, and you end up with a general mediocrity, if you want to say it that way. How do you see this? You'll see this as people not following through on commitments, maybe not getting things done. Others being maybe hesitant to point out that people aren't getting things done. And finally, you miss deadlines. Quality standards are low. People are frustrated, and the overall team fails to meet expectations. So to fix that, just really encourage accountability at every level. So when team members aren't meeting expectations, you should feel comfortable to be able to have a conversation. What's going on? How can we help you? Is there something that's keeping you from being able to do what you said you would do? And then finally, the final dysfunction is inattention to results. When individuals focus on their specific department or personal goals rather than the overall team's results, clearly the overall organization suffers. So what you'll see if this is a problem is that some members are prioritizing their personal achievements or their own personal wins, and they're less focused on sort of the collective outcome of the group. So the solution to this is really just to remind everyone that the team's success is the ultimate goal. And that personal achievements, they're important. If the team wins, those overall and individual successes will naturally follow. So in conclusion, the five dysfunctions of a team are common, very common, and we're seeing a lot of that right now, but they are really not insurmountable. By working together to address these issues head on, starting with trust and moving through each of the dysfunctions, as you remember, trust is the foundation for all of these things. You can transform your team into a high-performing, cohesive unit. If you or your team is struggling with any of these dysfunctions in your team, I encourage you to reach out because we specialize in helping teams break through these barriers and reach their full potential. Appreciate you listening. Hope you have a good day, and give me some feedback if this is helpful to you.